Hey there, crocheter. Who is excited to learn how to do overlay mosaic crochet? My name is Erin and I help beginner crocheters gain confidence in their own crochet by teaching them how simple overlay mosaic crochet can be. This is a little swatch of overlay mosaic crochet, and this is what I'm going to teach you guys how to make today. Here you're going to learn the basics, how I do my beginning border stitches, how the stitches work in here. All you're going to need to know is how to single crochet and how to double crochet, and you got to know the difference between front loop and back loop. If you don't know, I'll teach you. Now, if this scares you, I'm just going to show you the back side. What we're doing is we're basically making stripes. We're using one color per row, and we make amazing designs like this. Some mosaic crochet patterns look so intricate, but on the back side, just stripes. So with just those two different stitches, single crochet and double crochet, you're able to create some magic colorwork pieces. Okay, I think that this is really the easiest form of colorwork for crochet, and I know you can do it. Let's go ahead and learn how to do overlay mosaic crochet. Here is more up close the sample we are going to make up. As you can see on both sides, I have all of this fringe because we're always going to start here on the right side, crochet across to the left. This is if you're right-handed, of course, and work to the end, then fasten off. Then you're going to take the next color, and you're going to have a nice long tail. You're going to work up the row all the way to the end. Then you're going to fasten off. Then for row 3, you're going to pick up color A again and start over at the beginning, go to the end, fasten off. So every row we are working one color at a time. We fasten off at the end of every row and start again at the beginning. So that's what every row is going to look like here for overlay mosaic crochet. And I have my two presents here because I'm going to show you how to work up this repeat. We are going to learn how to do overlay mosaic crochet using this, my Mosaic Presents chart. This is by me, Juniper Oakes. So we have the chart and we have the written instructions here. So I'm going to teach you how to read the chart, kind of how to read the written instructions, and then we're going to chat about how we're going to do the repeat. And in this, I'm going to make a swatch, as you saw, that is 2 presents long. So I'll show you how to do the repeat there. Okay, so first up, here is our symbols here. We have a foundation single crochet with that little mark. So that's what our first row here is going to be. If I'm adding onto this blanket with other sections or other charts, I'm not going to have this symbol here. It'll just be, continue on. So this is just the foundation single crochet, how I start my patterns. You can choose to start your patterns with, chaining however many you need and then doing single crochet over top. But we can talk about that in a little bit. Then our A and B is just the beginning border stitch using the color indicated. Here we have A, and here we have B, here we have A, B, A, B. So every row we're changing colors, right? Okay, then you can't really see it here, but this is a blank box. I can make that whatever. So if it's a white blank box or if it's like a darker blank box, doesn't matter, as if there's no X in it, that's what we're looking for. As long as there's no X in it and it's a blank box, we're going to do BLOSC, back loop only, single crochet. So we're just working a single crochet in the back loop only of those rows. And then if you have an X, that's where we do a special mosaic double crochet or a FLO, front loop only double crochet. That's where we're going to skip the row below, and then in 2 rows down below we're going to find the front loop that's left over from this back loop only single crochet and do our front loop only double crochet. Okay, then we're going to go across, and this symbol right here is our ending border stitch. In row 3, I'm going to show you what those beginning and ending border stitches kind of look like. They're going to be a little bit funny until we get to there, okay? And then the red line means repeat across. So that's what all of those symbols mean, and then you have these abbreviations here in the pattern. And I'm going to pick up my color A. My color A in this situation is my gray here. And I'm going to leave a little tail. So to do overlay mosaic crochet, like we talked about, you are going to work with one color and then we're going to fasten off, work for another color, fasten it off, okay? So I'll show you about how that goes. So first up, we have our foundation single crochet. This is for the big blanket pattern. But what we're doing is we have a 12 stitch repeat and then you need 3 extra stitches. 1 extra stitch for the beginning border stitch, an extra stitch to even the pattern out, and then another extra stitch for the ending border stitch. So we have a repeat of 12 plus 3. So I'm going to make 2 repeats. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 3 is 27. So I'm going to do a foundation single crochet of 27. Okay, that's math. Hope you kind of figured it out. If not, leave a comment below and I hope we can help you. Maybe I should do a whole video on all that math, but hey ho, let's go. To do a foundation single crochet, I do 2 chains. And then in that first chain that I made, I'm going to insert my hook. I'm going to pull through 1, pull through 1, pull through 2. That's our first foundation single crochet. So now we're going to do 26 more of those. But the second one is a little bit different since we're not doing the chain 2. What you're going to do is kind of, so this is the top of it where we're going to work our next rows. So if you turn it upside down, you kind of have this little V thing under here. 2 stitches or 2 loops underneath they're going to go through. And you're going to go pull through 1. And that makes like the chain from our foundation row. Then you're going to go pull through 1 and pull through 2. Now those last ones are the single crochet. So it's like we have a chain row and then a single crochet row. So just with that little bit, we're making both rows at the same time. So now flip it up and you have right here this little V right underneath. Go through those 2 loops. Then you're going to yarn over, pull through once for our chain, then make our single crochet by going through 1 through 2. Okay, now flip it up like this again and go through those 2 loops like so, through 1 through 1 through 2. Through 1 through 1 through 2. Oop, through 2. You go through our 2 loops, through 1 through 1 through 2, through 1 through 1 through 2. Okay, I hope that makes some sense with you. I feel like my tension got a little worse there at the end. So I'm just going to pull out a couple stitches and then continue on. 27. So here's my foundation single crochet row. Set this down. I'm going to grab my scissors. Aren't those cute? And I'm going to leave, you know, a decent end on. If you're not hiding it under an envelope border and you want to do some twisted fringe, you want to leave it nice and long. Also, I find that I often make mistakes somewhere in my project. And if I have a nice long tail, I'm able to let it go and I'll have some more room to fix it. So that's why I do that. And then I kind of do like a chain 1, fasten off. Okay, so fasten off at the end of each row. And now we're ready to start row 2. So I'm going to get my color B, which in the case of these presents is a red. And I'm going to start again with a nice long tail in case I want to do a twisted fringe. And I want it to be like the same length as the other ones. Insert my hook. So I set down my work and then now I don't know which way is right from left, like what's my wrong side, what's my right side. So you're going to look at the top of the stitches. See here, you can kind of see there's nothing really there. That's the bottom of the foundation row. Here at the top you see these V stitches. All right, those V loops. So this is the front loop and that's the back loop. And you want the tip of the V of that stitch to face to the right if you're right-handed. So for the first stitch, Like in row 3, I'm going to do what we do the beginning border stitch, but row 2, we're going to kind of skip that, and we're just going to do a standing single crochet. So I'm going to insert my hook through the stitch. I'm going to do both loops of that stitch. Okay, insert the hook through both loops of that stitch, yarn over, pull through. Now I have 2 red loops on my stitch. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. So that's just a standing single crochet stitch. Okay, and that's what we did here with color B, beginning border stitch in stitch 1. For this row, beginning border stitch is a little bit fussy because it just doesn't match. Okay, so then you're going to back loop only, single crochet across. We're going to leave 1 stitch open for the ending border stitch, okay? That's always going to be the case. It's always the case. Okay, so now looking at the chart, we see we have the border stitch with color B, and then we have the whole row of blank boxes and our ending border stitch here. So can you kind of see what that means? People often get confused because this is a white box, that's a white box, this is a darker box, right? Color B box, and then white, okay? So it looks like we have more than 1 color in this row, but with overlay mosaic crochet, each row is just 1 color. The chart here is what it's going to look like at the end, but as we're working through, we're just looking, is there an X in this box? Yes or no? If there's no X in the box, we're just doing a back loop only single crochet. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So here's the next stitch. We had talked about how there's that front loop and the back loop of the V. The back loop is the one furthest from you. You're going to insert your hook through that back loop only. You're going to pull up a loop. Now you have 2 loops, right? You're going to pull up through both of those loops. Okay, single crochet in the back loop. Okay, next row, again, or next stitch, again, is a blank box. So back loop only, single crochet. Back loop only, just going through 1 loop and doing a single crochet. Next stitch, back loop only, single crochet, and like we realized when we read the written instructions, we're doing back loop only, single crochet all the way across. We're going to leave 1 stitch open for our ending border stitch. We've done our back loop only, single crochet all the way across, and now we have 1 stitch left. We're going to do our ending border stitch. Like I said, row 2 is a little bit fussy with this. Like I can never figure it out. So instead, this first stitch at the end, we're just going to do a single crochet through both of the loops, okay? 2 loops, single crochet. Just a regular single crochet. Now we're at the end, no more stitches. I'm not going to flip this over and crochet that way. No, siree. I'm going to take my cute scissors once again, and I'm going to leave a longish tail, fasten off, yarn over. Okay, little chain stitch, fasten off. Okay, there now we just have a couple of stripes here. One little tip I have about the scissors is, like if I'm on a road trip or in my couch or whatever, I'm always losing my scissors. So I got this cool little, this is like a sewing gadget, but it's this snips holder from Sew Tights. Anyway, this I connect to my shirt. It's magnetic. And then I just have this on my shirt with the scissors. Isn't that really cool? All right, just wanted to show you. And of course, affiliate link down below. So now we're ready for row 3. Let's just look this over. So here we go, row 3. We have an A here. So we're using color A, and we're going to do a beginning border stitch. I'm actually going to teach you how to do a beginning border stitch here. And now we also have these X's. So we're going to get funky here with our front loop only double crochet. So I'm going to grab my color A once again, have my long tail, make my slip knot, insert my hook, and now I'm going to show you the beginning border stitch. If you do not understand what I'm about to say, if it's really confusing, just take a deep breath, it's okay. There are other border stitch instructions out there. Lots of other mosaic crochet designers, they may do their border stitch a bit different. I find that this way, 1, looks really pretty, 2, once I get the hang of it, is pretty easy, and number 3, it really holds the pattern together, the project together, and then when we do our envelope border, it makes that really, really simple. So that's why I do it this way. You can choose to or not. To start the beginning border stitch, we are going to work like a modified single crochet. Normally we would go, if we're doing a regular single crochet, we'd go through both of these loops here on the top, right? Well, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the post of the stitch. Here you have the 2 loops in the front. It makes this V, 1, 2. On the back side, for the stitch, there's also 2 loops. 1, 2. What we're going to do is on the front side, we're going to go through the post of the stitch, which is going right through the middle of that V. But on the back side, we want both lines of that V to be towards the outside. Okay, towards the right if you're right-handed, or left if you're left-handed. So what you're going to do is going to go through the V on this side, through the middle, and then you're going to have to work some little maneuvering magic with your fingernails or whatever, and go through on that side. So on here you have 2 loops on the back side to the right, and on the front you've gone right through the middle. So then we're going to yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through both of those, so a single crochet. And then you can kind of see here on the front of the stitch you have the V here in the red, but then you also have that in the gray, and that's really fun. Then you flip it over and you see that you have the V on the back side here in the gray, and then also in the red, both of those loops are to the outside. This is going to come in really handy because when we work our border and we're on the back side, you go through both of those loops to make a really secure border, and you're just going to work single crochet around that. And then you do that in the front where you have these V's, and that's where you're going to work the stitch. Then when you're working your border, you just don't need to guess when you're working along the side, like where does my stitch go? It's very, very clear. So that's why I do the border stitch. Enough about that soapbox. Now we're going to move on to stitch number 2 here in row 3. We have X's. We have 2 X's here. The X's are front loop only double crochet. And let me show you how to do that. So to front loop only double crochet, it means we're doing a double crochet. So if we start out by yarning over, and then if we were doing a regular double crochet, we would double crochet, through the red, those 2 loops right there. But this is a front loop only double crochet doing mosaic. So what we do here is we're going to skip over the red, and we're going to find the front loop that's left over here. We're going to go through the gray, front loop of the gray, and do a double crochet. Okay, and we got 2 of those, right? So I'm going to show you how to do it again. Yarn over, skip over the red, find the front loop here down in the gray. Right, we did a back loop only before. Now we have that front loop that's left over. We grab that and we work a double crochet. Okay, one little tip I have about that is if I'm using color A, which I am, then I'm going to find the color A front loop. Okay, and that's always how it's going to be, unless you're doing some more advanced mosaic crochet pattern. Is when you're using color A and there's an X, you're going to look for the same color A front loop down below. Make sense? Okay, now we're moving on. This box here has no X. So we have a string of 1, 2, 3, 4, back loop only, single crochets. There's no X, so we're just doing single crochet. Doesn't matter what the color is, right? This is the different color where it's not color A, but that's okay. It's going to all even out in the end. Okay, and if we want to look at the written instructions, here in row 3, we see we started with color A, we did back, we had beginning border in the first stitch, check, front loop double crochet times 2, which we just did. And now we're going to do our back loop only single crochet times 4. When we have these asterisks here in my written instructions, that means we're going to repeat whatever's in those. And then within that, I have some more some parentheses here. That means we're going to repeat that as well within the span of that. Okay, so we're going to have back loop only single crochet times 4, front loop double crochet times 1, and we're going to do that twice, and then we're going to repeat it across. Okay, this is where I'm going to show you about these repeat lines. Alrighty, Roo? So like I said, we're going to do 4 back loop only single crochet. Let me get that out of the way. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we have our front loop only double crochet here. We have an X. So then the 1. Okay, written instructions. And now we've gone through this 1, so there's another parentheses. So we're just going to repeat this part. 4 single crochets, 1 double crochet. And we'll see that here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets and 1 double crochet in our repeat line. So then we're just going to pause there. Okay, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 front loop only double crochet. So we're here on this repeat line, and we've made it to our double 2 right here. Okay, and this here says we're going to repeat it across. We're going to repeat whatever is in this asterisk across. What it means for this chart here is we're going to, once we get to the red line here, we're going to start right here, and we're going to work whatever's in between the red line. We're going to work that over again. Make sense? So if we had like a huge blanket we were making and we needed to get, 195 stitches, we would just repeat what's in this box over and over and over and over again. Okay, so I'm going to show you that here. We're not going to do this last stitch. That's the last one to even it off. Okay, so we've gone here. Now we're going to go here with 2 front loop only double crochets. We have 1 here, but that's on that side of the box. So we're like doing a total of 3. Okay. See? And then we're doing our 4 back loop only single crochet. Front loop double. Four back loop single. Okay, and then we have our front loop double to end off that repeat. Here I'm getting to the end of my swatch, but if I'm making this huge blanket here, right, I wouldn't stop here. I would now go back to the beginning, right, and have the three double crochets in a row. Okay, but once you get to the end, now you're ready to hop over that repeat line. And we're going to end with a front loop only double crochet and our ending border stitch. So we're going to do our front loop only double crochet. And the ending border stitch here is going to be similar to our beginning border stitch, but we're just doing it in a different direction. Okay, before we like went in this way and our 2 legs were that way, but now since we're at the end, I need to go in this way and have my 2 loops be that way on the back side. Okay, turn it over. It's kind of a mess of red back here, but you see right here are just the 2 loops that I want, and I want those to go to the outside. Here's the V that I want to have. I'm going to go through the middle. The ending border stitch is a bit trickier just because like you have your hook in your right hand if you're right-handed, right? But you need to like go that way instead of to the left. You need to go to the right. A trick that I have is I take the hook and I kind of hook it around that first loop to get into the middle, and then I turn it around this way and I find 1, 2, and I go through that. Okay, a lot of times if I don't hook that first loop on the front, what happens is the stitch kind of slips, and then I find out I haven't gone through the middle and I have to undo the stitch and whatever. So that's just a tip that I have found. Okay, then I'm going to grab my scissors, snippy snippy, and fasten off. We've done our first 3 rows. And here I wanted to show you, because people get a little confused by this extra stitch here, like, why do you need one more to even off the repeat? So here we started with 2 grays over here, like right here, 2 grays. Then we have the pattern. If we just ended it here, we would have just 1 there. But I wanted to have 3 stitches in between here. I could have ended it here and then just repeat and have 4 stitches, but that's not how I wanted it. Because a lot of my repeats are like work with a 12 stitch repeat. So that's why I did it. So now we have 2 on the side, 3, and then if you're making a longer blanket, it'd be like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and we just always end with 2, and that matches that. It's a nice mirror image that way. Now we are ready for row 4. I'm not going to be teaching you anything new this row, but I am just going to, walk over the same things we learned just until it's set in stone. Feel free to turn the video off right now if you need to, but if you want to follow along with me for the next few rows, let's do it. Okay, we got our color B. There we go. Okay, we're going to start row 4 with our beginning border stitch with color B. To do the beginning border stitch, we have this V right here, and we're going to go in the middle of that V, push it through, then on the back side, just the beginning border stitch is so much easier than the ending, because you push it through like that, you have your 2 loops of the V to the outside. Love it. And you're going to do a single crochet like so. Beginning border stitch. Then we're going to do 1, 2 back loop only single crochets. And you notice how they're white boxes, but we're using color B, but we're not going to get in a fuss. We just know if it's a blank box, it's back loop only single crochet. Just remember, the chart is what it looks like at the end, and it may not look like that row by row. So back loop only single crochet. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 X's. That means 4 front loop only single crochets. And wouldn't you know it, there are 4 back loop only double crochets that we did here. So what we're going to do is our front loop double crochets are there to hide the color we don't want to see. So here we have our gray, but this is going to be a red present. So I don't want to see that gray right there. So I'm going to hide it, find this front loop in the red. I'm going over the gray, and now, look, it's hidden right there. I'm going to do that 3 more times. Right? And see how the gray is hiding. Just like that. Isn't that fabulous? So we just did 1, 2, 3, 4 front loop only double crochets. We've hidden the gray in the back. There we go. I get a lot of people asking about like, oh, my stitches are pulling. There's like this weird little loop right there. Am I doing it right? Yeah, you are. You're doing it right. Just the nature of the beast. And really, I don't let it bother me too much. Either it evens itself out or just adds a bit of extra flair and fun, but it's okay. Okay, so we did our 4 here, and now we have 1 back loop only single crochet because we have a blank box, okay? Here I'm going to show you that sometimes we just can't mess this up because it calls for a back loop only single crochet. What if I thought, oh, I'm going to do a double crochet instead in the front loop? I'm going to yarn over and look, there is no stitch for me to work that for loop only double crochet in, right? Because that's already been taken up here. So for regular overlay mosaic crochet, if you have an X below your stitch, you just know that it's going to be a back loop only single crochet. Later on you can get pretty fancy with the stitches, but that's just a nice thing to learn for the basics. Okay, then remember how down here we're like repeating that little section. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 front loop only double crochets. Okay, now I just did this back loop only single crochet right here, and I get to the end of my repeat line, but I have more stitches to work. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning, back to the start of that repeat line. We're going to do 2 more back loop only single crochets. Okay, back loop only single crochet. We're going to do our 4 double crochets, 1 single, 4 double, 1 single, and then we are on the repeat line again. So 4 double, 1 single, back to the 4 doubles. Okay, and then 1 single to finish off the repeat. And then, okay, I've got, no more stitches at the end, or just 2 more. So I'm going to do another back loop only single and the ending border stitch. Again, if you're making the whole big blanket, go back, repeat, go back, repeat. Okay, over and over and over again. But instead, I'm going to end it off. Back loop only single crochet. And then the ending border stitch. Okay, so that is where we want, on the outside or to the left, we're going to want these back stitches. Okay, so you can see how easy that V is to spot, which is handy. You're going to go through the middle here, but what I like to do is I like to hook it, hook that loop that's on the right side. So I go through the middle, flip it around, and then I have those 2 to the outside and work a single crochet. Ta-da! And that's really nice because we have these V's. It just looks pretty. I like it. I think it works pretty. Look at my thing is stuck. Looks pretty, and it's functional. So that's a 2 for 1. Fasten off, and we're ready for row 5. Get our color A. For row 5, we're going to follow the chart here. But if you're like, oh, I'm going to read instructions for this chart specifically, the thing about row 5 is that it's a repeat of row 3. Isn't that handy? So we get to repeat ourselves a bit here for the majority of the present, which is really handy for us. But I'm going to show you how to do this next row, and then I'm going to have to let you off and fend for yourself the rest of the way. And I believe in you. But I'm not ready yet. We're going to do row 5 together. Don't worry. Okay, row 5 with color A. We're going to do our beginning border stitch, where we insert our hook through the center and kind of go in at an angle so that both of those loops of the V on the back side are to the outside or to the right. Boop. Okay, now we have 2 X's, which is our front loop only double crochet. We're going to find these front loops from the gray. Remember, we use the same color A for the X's for the front loop only double crochets. Then we have 4 blank boxes, which is our back loop only single crochets. Once again, I can't work a double crochet here because there's no front loop to go into, right? It's already been taken, or it's been covered up. As you're going along, you might notice if you have a string of front loop only double crochets down below, you'll find that there's like these little flaps in the back. Those don't tend to bother me, but I know they bother some people. Like sometimes you have like a good long, like 10 stitches or more where it's like that. So you may want to anchor it down. I'm going to show you how to do that. So here our next step is front loop only, double crochet. And now I'm getting to my back loop only single crochets, but I have this row of double crochets, so I'm going to show you how to anchor that down. What I do is I go through the back loop like I'm doing a back loop only single crochet, but for my anchoring what I do is then I come back, kind of flip it over, and I find the gray or the color A down below, and I also go through the back loop of that one, turn around, and I'm going to pull through both of those back loops to do my single crochet. So it's basically almost the same, except I'm grabbing the extra back loop back there. And that, what that does, here I'll show you after I do 4 of those. Now that's covered up, and I don't have the little flappy flap like I do right here. I like keeping the flaps because then the back side is like stripes, but if you do this little anchor stitch, you know, it's almost a reversible pattern. So that's pretty handy. I just wanted to show you that option. Usually what I do is I just leave the flaps myself and I don't have to think about it too much. So then I'm right here. Once again, I'm at the end of my repeat line, so I'm going to go back and repeat. Here are the written instructions, repeat row 3. So I've gotten to the end of my asterisk here, and now I'm going to go to the beginning of the asterisk and do that, okay? So 2 front loops, 4 back loops, 1 front loop, and 4 back loops. Another front loop double. Now I've gotten to the end of the repeat line, so we're going to go and move on there. I'm going to show you here on the written instructions. We've done this times 2 thing, and we've repeated across, but now we have 2 stitches left, okay? You repeat until you have 2 stitches left, and then you're going to work the front loop only double crochet, and then your ending border stitch in the last, okay? So front loop only double crochet, ending border stitch in the last. So I'm going to hook into the center of that V, look on the back, and make sure both of these loops are to the outside of my work. Single crochet, and then we're going to fasten off. All right, I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, leave your questions down below. But from there, just go row 6, row 7, all the way up, and end on row 19, and then you'll have some lovely mosaic presents. So speaking of the anchor stitch, here I have 7 front loop only double crochets, so that's going to leave quite the flat back here. Usually I don't do an anchor stitch like on every stitch to cover that up, but you know, like the middle stitch or maybe every 4 stitches or something, I will do an anchor stitch. So I'm going to go through that back loop only because I'm going to do like a back loop only single crochet, but to anchor it, I'm just going to flip it in with that matching color 2 rows below. I'm going to do the back loop of that one, pull through both of those back loops, and then finish off my single crochet. So that just kind of anchors it in place like that, as you can see. And then I'm just going to go back and do my back loop only single crochets just like that. So here I'm going to talk to you about what happens if I get crocheting along and then I find out, oh heavens to Betsy, oh no, I messed up. This stitch right here needs to be just a back loop only single crochet to match over here. And to me, oh, that mistake just looks blaringly obvious. I can't just go over it because, oh, man, my bow looks messed up. So instead of frogging back the whole thing, like some other crochet projects, you would have to frog back to the beginning, then frog back, to where you need to be. What I do is I frog back, I frog back to like the stitch, that stitch or the stitch before, and then I can undo this fasten off slip knot thing that I did right here, and I'm going to pull back just until I've made the mistake. Okay, I've taken out the mistake stitch. I'm going to leave a nice long loop there so I don't lose where I am. Pick back up on that row down below and fix the mistake. Right. And then finish off the rest of the row. Hopefully I left enough yarn as a tail that I don't have to be worrying about playing yarn chicken right now. It's nice that the mistake I made was a double crochet when it should have been a single crochet, so I will have extra yarn left over. Sometimes if it's the other way around and I did a single where there should have been a double, I'm playing a little bit of yarn chicken. So that's why I like to have those longer tails just in case. Okay, so now I'm going to fasten that off. See, my tail's a little bit longer, but I can always trim that if I want to. And then I can go back to the row that I am on and continue working along like nothing happened. And I don't have to take out 2 whole rows in order to make my mistake better. I just have to frog back to where I was. If I wanted to double this pattern and just make present on present on present, what I would do is I could either just work row 2 right on top of it and just have one little row between the presents, or I could, start repeating here, and instead of having it being a foundation single crochet, I could just pretend these are all blank boxes and do a back loop only single crochet, then start row 2 as normal, then row 3 and go up and just repeat it that way, just following the repeat lines. And there you have it. There is my finished little sample swatch of the Mosaic Presents pattern. As you can see, now that we are done, the sample matches the chart, even though as we were working it, we kind of had to ignore the color a little bit, but now the colors match. Wow, you guys, what do you think? Is that easier or harder than you thought it would be? Most people say that it's easier. If you find it difficult, please reach out for help, and we would love to help you out because we want to make you feel confident when you do overlay mosaic crochet. We want you to be confident in your crochet skills, so reach out, join my crochet community Facebook group, and the members in there are amazing. They love to answer questions and help people understand this technique. I know you're going to have questions about these dangly little ends. Well, I have a couple solutions for you. You could do a twisted fringe, you could do an envelope border, or you can just leave them all here. I have instructions on how to do a twisted fringe and an envelope border. When you're ready, you can watch those videos. But for now, keep practicing. Share pictures of your swatches online. Make sure you tag me at Juniper Oakes so that I can see them. Leave a comment down below with some big takeaways from this swatch. Are you addicted yet? Do you need some more practice? Let me know. I have lots more video tutorials and helps to get you going. I've also linked some of my mosaic crochet patterns down below. I've got some smaller projects for you beginners and some bigger projects for those who are wanting to try something bigger. Please like this video and share it with a friend so that other people can learn how to do mosaic crochet as well. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and hit that little bell so you're notified anytime I come out with any other crochet content. Happy crocheting!